You know what I think? Game of Thrones Season 7 and 8 really stank. The conclusion? No iconic feeling to it at all. It honestly felt like a letdown. The Battle of Winterfell? Such horribleness. There was no build-up, no rhyme or reason to anything, and no sense to any of it. We didn't even know anything about the Night King other than he was just after Bran Stark. It was all just bad. But don't worry, today we're gonna fix that. Hey everyone, welcome to Film Pack. Today we'll be diving into one of the most complex fantasy shows of all time, Game of Thrones. The battle for Westeros was an intense roller coaster of emotions and gore for 6 seasons before HBO went ahead and botched the show's grand finale with 13 horrific concluding episodes. In the end, the Night King was still anonymous, but dead. Both Cersei and Daenerys fell victim to their ambitions, and Bran Stark was crowned Lord of the Seven Kingdoms? Confusing, right? Well, in this video, we're putting all of that horrifying drama to rest and fixing the end of Game of Thrones for good. For legal reasons, this is not the actual ending to Game of Thrones. It is just a work of fanfiction. Now, before we actually begin with the story, we need to know where every member of the cast is at this point in time. Remember, characters that are in the same area have a means of running into one another, and that can dictate the story. In King's Landing, Cersei Lannister now sits on the Iron Throne, and her brother and lover, Jaime Lannister, sits by her side. Sir Bronn of the Blackwater is one of their royal aides, and Gendry, Robert Baratheon's illegitimate son, is working as a smith under all of their noses. Now there's an opportunity for some fun. Unbeknownst to them, Daenerys Targaryen has just landed at Dragonstone with her aides Missandei and Grey Worm, as well as her hand, Tyrion Lannister, the youngest brother of Cersei and Jaime. The Greyjoys, including Theon Greyjoy, provided transportation, while Ellaria Sand, Lord Varys, and secretly Melisandre are all waiting for her. At Winterfell, Jon Snow has been crowned king in the north and is ruling alongside his half-sister Sansa Stark. Alongside them are the wildling Tormund Giantsbane, Davos Seaworth, and the untrustworthy Lord Peter Baelish, also known as Littlefinger. You just know he's either going to create some chaos or die trying. In the Riverlands, Brienne of Tarth has just escaped from Riverrun after the Lannisters took it. Sandor Clegane is marching north with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and Arya Stark is getting revenge for the Red Wedding at the Twins. All three know each other, and all three are headed in the same direction. At the Citadel, Samwell Tarly is with Gilly and meets Jorah Mormont, who has been infected with grayscale. The only other person of interest is Bran Stark, whose uncle Benjen has just rescued him and Mira Reed and is taking them south towards Castle Black. Now, the original story in Season 7 had Jon Snow heading to Dragonstone to meet Daenerys Targaryen, Bran and Arya Stark returning home to Winterfell for a reunion, Cersei and Jaime pillaging the great houses of Westeros and gaining revenge for Myrcella's murder, Samwell Tarly cures Jorah Mormont of grayscale, Daenerys kills the Tarlys, an expedition north of the Wall is conducted, a summit for a truce is held in King's Landing, and the younger Starks execute Littlefinger for his crimes. While that's not all bad, there are better ways for this season to have set up Season 8. For starters, Daenerys Targaryen has just landed in Westeros, and Arya Stark has to have heard by now that Littlefinger is at Winterfell. She can't afford to risk so much to return home, especially since Jon is rumored to be traveling to Dragonstone to meet Daenerys Targaryen, and Arya still doesn't fully trust Sansa. It makes more sense for her to turn south with Sandor Clegane and disappear into King's Landing. On top of that, Gendry's there. If you wanted a romantic scene between Gendry and Arya, it could have been earlier on with a little bit more of a build-up to it. Another major plot point could be that Gendry's mother wasn't actually his real mother, and that he was in fact the supposed stillborn child of Robert Baratheon and Cersei Lannister, making him Robert's true heir the whole time. Other than that, the season is going to play out in the fashion that it did with a few minor tweaks. For one, Theon isn't going to save Yara from Euron yet. It makes more sense for Theon to wait and build trust with Jon. It's my view that he should accompany Jon north on the expedition instead of Gendry. At Winterfell, Brienne arrives with her squire Podrick Payne, and Podrick starts to show hints of having feelings for Sansa Stark. Now, before you get your head wrapped around the idea that Sansa was already a love interest of Theon, let me be frank, in that Theon is more like a brother to Sansa than a lover. He had years to ask Ned Stark for her hand as the beauty she was, but never made the move to do so. She also never asked Ned Stark to stay at Winterfell because she was in love with Theon. They weren't attracted to each other, but Sansa is deeply indebted to Theon as he saved her from Ramsay. Podrick, on the other hand, does not really know Sansa, but he is the type of man that Sansa would marry. He's kind, loyal, protective of those he cares about, and has proven that he does have a way with women.
Sit down, Podrick.
A relationship between Podrick and Sansa would make a lot of sense for the franchise, would give Sansa the protector that she needs, and give Podrick a more defined place in the world than just being a knight. While Podrick keeps his eyes fixated on Sansa, Sansa is keeping her attention fully fixed on Lord Baelish, much to the dismay of Podrick and the concern of Brienne, who doesn't trust Littlefinger. Instead of the Tarleys burning alive, Sam and Jorah Mormont arrive to stop Daenerys from doing something stupid. Sam is able to convince his father and brother to bend the knee, and Daenerys spares them. Finally, Sansa Stark will arrive late to the summit with Brienne and Podrick and offer a gift in exchange for Cersei's temporary allegiance. To Cersei's surprise, Sansa tells her that it was Littlefinger who accompanied Olenna Tyrell in murdering Joffrey in Season 4. In exchange for a truce, Sansa offers Cersei his head, having worked with Bran, Podrick, and Brienne to lure Lord Baelish to his execution. Cersei accepts and agrees to send soldiers north. That's where we pick up things in Season 8, with Daenerys, Cersei, and Jon all marching to Winterfell to fight against the army of the dead. However, things are not as they seem, as Cersei is secretly planning an ambush in addition to defeating the army of the dead. She'll kill everyone not loyal to her, especially Daenerys, with one shot into the sky. However, this plan backfires as Ser Jorah Mormont takes the arrow and saves Daenerys' life. That prompts Cersei to pull her forces out of Winterfell and run south in the middle of the battle. Jon Snow kills the Night King after a long battle instead of Arya killing him as she is in King's Landing. Theon is also not in the north, as he now goes to rescue his sister from his uncle Euron. However, Euron kills Theon in cold blood in his attempt, but Yara and the Greyjoy men surround and murder Euron. The rest of the season went almost exactly the same. While Arya, Gendry, and Sandor Clegane go to kill Cersei, Daenerys burns the city down. Arya is able to kill Ilyn Payne and take his face before things become serious. The Hound and his brother still die, as does Cersei, but it's the death of Gendry in the rubble that breaks Arya the most. She instantly wants revenge and takes Ilyn Payne's face. She shoots and kills Daenerys with a bow and arrow as Ilyn Payne, but disappears without a trace, leaving Sir Ilyn's body behind to be found. She sails west of Westeros without telling anyone, never to be seen by anyone in Westeros again. A really great twist is when Grey Worm demands revenge over all of Westeros. Bran Stark takes over Drogon in a vision and turns him against the Unsullied. Drogon kills Grey Worm and all of Daenerys' forces, giving Westeros the win after all. If you think that twist is incredible, just wait until you hear what's next. Amazingly, Jaime Lannister survives the attack and flees to Braavos. Here, he lives in depression for a time as he's truly lost everything. Eventually, he meets a living Melisandre, who deceives him and murders him as the Lord of Light has determined his fate. Jon Snow has been declared the rightful king of Westeros as Rhaegar Targaryen's only surviving heir. He appoints Tyrion Lannister to the Hand of the King and invites Samwell Tarly, Davos Seaworth, Yara Greyjoy, Bran Stark, and Brienne of Tarth to serve on the Small Council, though Bran declines and that seat is taken by Robb and Arryn. Sansa and Podrick are married at Winterfell, and Jon appoints them as the Honorable Lord and Lady of the North. The king shall not have much power over the northern kingdom, as Podrick and Sansa will retain a bunch of that power themselves, but the north will still be counted as one of the 7 kingdoms and be a part of major decisions regarding the realm. Flashing forward about 5 years, Podrick Payne and Sansa Stark have just had a son, whom they named Eddard Payne Stark. It is their second child next to Lyanna Payne Stark. Bran is still living with them at Winterfell. Things seem to be all well, but this is Game of Thrones. The worst is yet to come. One night, Sansa wakes up only to discover that Podrick is dead. She weeps for days as the Maesters cannot begin to understand why he passed. It seems as if a ghost had killed him. It was at this point that Sansa understood. She headed to the gardens and commented that she knew he was listening. He wasn't Bran, he wasn't her brother, he was him, the one they said was defeated years ago. He took Podrick away from her. He had been ripping all the happiness away from her. Sansa vowed that she would not run and she would not resist. She would die a Stark of Winterfell and honor everything that her family, including Podrick, died for. That night, Sansa is found in her bed, motionless and without life. The biggest twist that ever could have been? What if Bran was the Night King all along? It would explain everything. Why would Bran have miraculously survived and become the three-eyed raven to be right then? It's oddly specific timing. Why did the supposed Night King go after only Bran? Why is Bran the only one who has the Night King's mark on him? All of these questions can be answered with one simple premise, one that Mira remarked on in Season 7.
I remember what it felt like to be Brandon Stark. But I remember so much else now.
You died in that cave.
You died in that cave. More accurately, Bran isn't Bran anymore. In fact, he never was. He was dead the moment he hit the ground after Jaime pushed him. He has been dead since the very beginning. After that, everything that happened was just strategic elimination of the lords and ladies of Westeros. Why did Joffrey suddenly decide to kill Lord Stark? Because Bran influenced him to do so in a dream. Why was Jon really brought back? Because Bran Stark had the power to bring him back and needed him alive strategically. Why did Talisa Maegor suddenly appear in Robb's life? Because Bran actually planned his mother and brother's demise. He planned all of it, and now he had control of a new army marching south. As Bran sits by the fire, we can all see that the impending doom of Westeros was finally realized. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. So long for now.